What's up, family? This is the Locker Room Beef Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving or belated Thanksgiving to all of you. My favorite holiday, so I hope you guys really enjoyed it and stuffed yourselves up. Go check out lockerroombeef.com if you haven't done so already. That's basically the hub of all we got. Subscribe to our LRB column. We're getting more and more subscribers, so I think people are really starting to enjoy the content. Like I said, we basically give an article every week. Sometimes a couple articles every week. Also, if you haven't done so, go follow our social media. We have over 1,000 people following us across our platforms. So mainly Instagram and Twitter. You're probably listening to us through SoundCloud or Apple Podcast. Just know that both of those exist, as well as YouTube if you're into that. Today's pod episode features Ace Boogie, Andrew Wade. Wade and I give a basketball palooza of a podcast. We discuss Derrick Rose, the Celtics, the beginning of college basketball, Ben Simmons, and then we have a segment at the end where we draft and sort of break down the best attributes of the perfect NBA player. So that segment's at the end, like I said. So please make sure you listen to it and go cast your vote as to which person's player is better. We want to get your votes and opinion. But thanks for tuning in. Like I said, if you're digging what you're hearing, please go shoot us a 5-star review, 5-star, 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 and enjoy the episode. Let's bounce. What's up, family? Thank you for joining us in the Locker Room Beef Podcast. I am joined today by my wonderful guest, Ace Boogie, Andrew Wade. How are you?
Good, Kev. How about you?
Pretty good. Today we have a pretty good pod. Got a couple oldies as far as segments goes, but a couple of new ideas that I'm excited to bring in. And then at the end, we have our perfect NBA players, so I'm pretty excited about that. I have no idea what you're selecting, and I think vice versa, so yeah, that should get interesting. Let's start with Sources Say. Basically, this is a segment where if there's any talk about some rumor or something that's about to happen, we kind of bring it up. We discuss the validity of it, what we believe to be true, how we see that situation going, or what it might have been. And for the first one, we're going to talk about the fact that Manute Bol, NBA legend, veteran in the NBA, kind of recently died over the past couple of years. He might have allegedly been 40 years old when playing in college, which would make him in his 40s in the NBA and retire when he was about 50 years old. I have no idea, and no one has any idea whether this is true or not. But the guy that brought him over, his last name is McKay, Mr. McKay brought over Manute Bol, basically had to come up with a birthday for Manute. So that he could get recruited for college and then ultimately have a career in the pros. But they didn't want to. He suspected that he was about 35 years old, but no 35-year-old is going to have any opportunity in college. So he told him he was about 23 years old, and he ended up having a 10-year career in the NBA. So what do you think about the fact that Manute Bol might have been super old? Do you think that's possible? I know black people don't age, and you can attest to this. What are your thoughts on him being so old, possibly?
I honestly think it's a pretty true story. Obviously, it's coming from McKay. He was the only one who brought him over, the only one who really had contact with him from Sudan to the U.S., but I think it's pretty unbelievable. I'm reading the article now, reading a little bit about it, and he just said that him and the immigration office at Cleveland State didn't really know what to do, but they both wanted to win, so they just kind of came up with a birthday, which is absolutely unbelievable.
Anything for a win.
I know.
He wasn't even a good college player, I read.
And he didn't even end up playing for Cleveland State. He ended up struggling with English, so he went Division II for a few years and then went to the NBA. But his birthday stuck, which is pretty unbelievable. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. I would love this to make up my birthday. He should have picked February 29th. He'd be like, I don't know, like 8 years old by now.
hell of a career.
Yeah, so definitely an interesting source to say that came out not too long ago, and I just think that's fascinating. The fact, if he was really in his mid to late 40s in the NBA, that's freaking impressive.
It's unbelievable.
LeBron, you got some
impressive.
work to do.
Yeah, you got to go for another 15.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Our other sources say segment that we want to bring up is the fact that Derrick Rose looks like he's possibly contemplating retirement. Now he's taking a little bit of a, I don't want to say a leave in absence, but he's stepping away from the team for a bit. And it's sort of, it looks like it's a cognitive thing between him and Cleveland, and they're just sort of figuring out and weighing out the options, not only for him, but for the franchise. Obviously, he's had a pretty unfortunate start to this season. It looked like he might be really the guy as far as the point guard. Then Isaiah Thomas was going to come in, but still he was going to have a heavy load having to really be the main point guard for 2/3 of the season, it looked like. But he's just been in and out of injury, and I know that for sure because he's on my fantasy squad, and I think he's only played like maybe 3 or 4 games and throughout the entire season. So what are your thoughts on the possible, youngest MVP ever not being able to play? And do you think that's what's going to end up happening? Do you think he's going to retire? What would you do if you were him?
It's definitely very frustrating. I can't even imagine the amount of frustration he's going through. And it kind of sucks just because when he went to New York about a year ago, it kind of felt like a new start, like he was getting a brand new jump, brand new career, basically. Especially playing in New York, such a big media city too. And he actually did this last year. He did take a leave of absence from the Knicks last year on a game day, which was pretty surprising. None of the team knew where he was. But this one's a little different, just because he's in Cleveland now. He was not actively playing on the Cavs. He hurt his ankle about a week ago. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, actually. But it's just a lot of frustration. I can't even imagine what he's going through. Especially because at the start of the season, I remember him quoted as saying that this is the first time that he's felt like he's having fun while playing basketball, which I thought was a pretty cool quote. And then just to go down like this only about a month into the season, I can't even imagine how frustrated he's got to be.
Yeah, I agree. Poor guy. And I don't know. I kind of like my first couple of years of following basketball was him at his, unfortunately, his prime. You thought it wasn't, but it really was. Yeah. And I think it was 23 years old when he won his first MVP, his third
youngest
season.
Ever.
Yeah, his third season in the NBA. And he was a monster. He deserved it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was kind of Westbrook-like, except
before Westbrook.
Yeah, except I think Derrick Rose is even more explosive, if that's even like possible.
Yeah.
I just think Westbrook is just an overall more of an animal.
Yeah.
But Rose had like a crazy dog in him too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite players at that moment, like during that time. I'm pretty sad that we're never going to really be able to see that again.
Right.
And I was one of the few people to say that last year I thought he was really having a comeback season. You mentioned it when he was at New York. It was like a fresh start. He averaged something like 18 and 7 or 18 and 6. I mean, solid season. Yeah. And he was playing most of the games. I mean, didn't get a whole lot of national coverage, but that's just because he was playing for the Knicks. I'm just surprised that I really actually thought that he would really turn it around. So much so that I drafted him in our league. I kind of thought this would be, a year that he might turn the corner again. But I wouldn't be surprised if he retires, and it might be the best thing. I also remember when the whole alleged kind of like sexual scandal came out that he was charged for rape. And I don't know if you remember, but he never denied the fact that that night happened. The whole long story short, him and a couple of buddies invited this girl over, and they were kind of like texting back and forth, and she was DTF.
Oh, wow.
And when she came over, she's like, "Oh, you have friends over?" And he's like, "Yeah, you cool with it?" And I guess she like said she kind of was, but later on she said she wasn't, and that part was lost in communication, but basically she went around the train, so to speak, and and there's no denial by Derrick Rose or any of his homies that that's what happened, and it always kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. The fact that he he never got charged just because it was too long. Like she waited too long to report any of this. It was like 2+ years afterward. But it's kind of crazy. Like ever since then, I'm like,
he never denied.
Yeah, like Derrick Rose, like that's kind of grimy, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, so wishing the best for you, Derrick. And if you retire, say hello to Cancun for me. Our next NBA segment, our next segment is going to be NBA affiliated, but it's kind of like our trivia time segment, something we haven't really done before. I'm looking forward to it. I'm thinking maybe the best way to do this is that we'll sort of like do this with a couple of other pod mates, and we'll kind of make a contest out of it. So basically what I've done is I've assembled 5 questions. This is an NBA edition, so they're all basketball affiliated. They range in difficulty. Typically the first ones are sort of easier, the last ones are sort of harder. Wade has no idea what I'm about to ask him, and what we'll do is just see how fast he can answer all the right answers. And if you'd like, just to let you know, you can just say skip, and I'll just read the next question, and then if you keep going through, we'll come back. But basically, we'll see how long it takes for you to answer all 5, and then we'll record that and see how that goes. So let's see. Let's pull up the timer here. You have 5 questions. I'll try to read them as quickly but as efficiently as possible, so that doesn't affect the time too much. But you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Who has the best record in the NBA?
Boston Celtics.
Correct. Who leads the league in turnovers? You can give multiple guesses.
I'm gonna go skip on this one.
Okay. Who has the most rebounds of all time?
All time, not current.
All time.
Let's skip this one too.
Okay. What is the sponsored logo on the Magic jersey?
It's Disney.
Correct. Which states have multiple teams? There's 4 of them.
California, Texas, New York, and Florida.
Correct. Good job. Okay. Who leads the league in turnovers?
John Wall.
No.
All right, rebounds?
Yeah, who has the most rebounds of all time?
Shaquille O'Neal.
No. Keep thinking all-time bigs.
Yao Ming.
What?
No. All-time. Wow. All-time. Yao Ming, shout out.
Shout out.
He's going to enjoy that when he hears it.
Charles Barkley.
No. Charles Barkley, too. Shout out.
Sean Oakman.
Well, me?
Oh, my God. This guy is pulling out of his ass.
I'm just throwing names out.
All-time bigs. All-time big. There's a couple big all-time bigs you are not naming.
I know.
I'll give you a clue.
What era did they play in?
This guy was 70s, 80s. He
No
was
idea.
like the first 7-foot beast in the NBA. He was like the most dominant big man after Bill Russell.
Manute Bol. No, I can't get this one.
Oh, come on. Nicknamed the Stilt.
Oh, Will Chamberlain.
Correct. And finally, who leads the league in turnovers?
Is this the Eastern Conference team or Western Conference?
Western Conference. It's a big man. One of the best bigs in the league.
I'm trying to think who has the ball a lot.
This one actually kind of
DeMarcus
surprising.
Cousins?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
So 2 minutes, 26 seconds. Not too bad. The 3 questions you got correct. You got correct basically right away as the other 2.
Right.
Pretty interesting. Just DeMarcus has 105 turnovers on the season already. Number 2 is James Harden with 92, who led the league last year. And then
Right, that was going to be my guess.
Yeah, Westbrook was 87. He's at 3rd with the most turnovers in the league right now, but not a bad job. We'll see how that compares to other people in the future, but
Right.
I definitely would have did better. Well, it was pretty fun. Hopefully the people at home maybe pause it a couple times, try to answer it themselves.
Yeah.
If not, do that for the future, because I'm sure you're going to be put on ice too. But thanks for playing. Basically, we'll transition into our next segment, which is it a good prediction or just fiction? We've done this a couple times. Basically, I'll be giving you a statement, and you'll evaluate whether you think it's a good prediction or fiction. We'll start off right away with the team we mentioned prior, the Celtics. Will the Celtics be the number one seed? They had like a crazy 17 game win streak, 16 game, I believe. And recently got beat by Miami, so that halted. But they still have the number one record in the NBA right now, and obviously look like one of the more promising teams, as well as the number one team in the ESPN's NBA Power Rankings right now. So do you think they last in the East, and do you think they are the number one seed?
Yeah, I definitely do think that's a good prediction. Not only just because of the last 16 games, but I just love Kyrie. I love Jaylen Brown. I love Tatum too. But I think they're the most complete team in the Eastern Conference, and that's not saying much because it's the East. But
hold on. Let's run it back. For any of our true Locker Room Beef listeners, please go back and listen to our first podcast with Ace Boogie. Because this guy boldly predicted that Cleveland would be the first seed. And I tried to tell him that the Celtics would definitely be the first seed for the regular season. And that was with Gordon Hayward. And even without Gordon Hayward, they're still going to be the first seed. And now this guy's already consoling. It's been 21 games and
it's been
Wade's
a big
already.
first month. I'm off the Cavs bandwagon.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This guy switches sides.
Yeah. I definitely think the Celtics will. Haven't seen much out of the Wizards. It's been pretty disappointing. And I think the Pistons are actually in second place right now. If that kind of shows you where the East is at.
Yeah.
But I definitely think the Celtics will take the number one seed.
No, yeah, the Pistons, I was trying to tell everybody, it's not going to last very long, just like the Magic did. And about a week and a half ago, they were the number 2 seed, and now they're like an 11th. So, just listen to us if you really want to learn anything about sports or basketball. Let's transition to our next good prediction or fiction. The Warriors will not be the 1 seed in the West. Basically, is that a good prediction or fiction? Right now, they sit at number 2 behind the Houston Rockets. Not too far behind, obviously. But the Warriors don't really necessarily need a 1 seed, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, they're stacked. They're the most talented team in the NBA. Clearly the favorites to win the NBA championship as well as the regular season. But do you see a team like the Rockets or maybe another team that we're not considering pushing them to possibly win out the 1 seed? So do you see that as a good prediction or fiction?
I see that as fiction. I definitely think the Warriors will end up being the number 1 seed. They just have too many options. It's almost unfair. I definitely like Chris Paul coming back to Houston, especially with them being in first place right now. But Golden State just has too many options to not be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think the Warriors will end up that way. And I don't even think they're going to try for it. I think they'll barely get it. And then the last couple of games, it'll be a fight for the 1 seed. And I think Houston...
And they'll really push it.
Yeah, I think Houston will be maybe a game and a half back or 2 games back when it's said and done. But the Warriors will probably still, I don't know, maybe win about 65 games or so. But still win the first seed.
Yeah.
All right, let's transition. Another good prediction or fiction. Texas. Shout out to Shaka Smart.
Shout out.
I've been in the same room with him. Fun fact.
There we go.
Yeah, I was pretty awe-inspired. I was like, recruit me. And he's like, excuse me, sir? And I was like, where's the restroom? He's like, I don't work here. Anyways, I basically saw myself in the reflection of his bald head. So, anyways, is Texas going to be a top 15 team in the NCAA? So is Texas going to be a top 15 team in the NCAA? What do you think?
I definitely think so. First of all, I love Shaka Smart. I love the havoc defense that he kind of brings. And if you look back to, I think 5 or 6 years ago, maybe not even, he took a VCU team who had no 4 or 5 star recruits and brought them to a national level, which is pretty impressive to see. And now at Texas, he kind of has the athletes and the recruiting base that he didn't have at VCU. also with the incoming freshman Mo Bamba.
Who, me?
Beast, as he's 6'11", 7 foot. And he was the number 4 recruit for his class this past year. So I think they're going to be really good. I mean, they put up a good fight against Duke. And Mo Bamba ended up fouling out with, I think, 3 minutes left in regulation. And it went to overtime, and they put up a good fight. So I think Texas will be really good this year. Definitely top 25 and possibly top 15.
All right, so a good prediction by you. I love Shaka Smart. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NCAA. And I do think it's a matter of time until Texas has one of those years where they're top 10. So maybe this is the year. Maybe it's coming up very soon, but I could definitely see it. All right, good prediction or fiction. Duke is going to be the number 1 overall seed when March Madness rolls around.
That's a good prediction. I mean, we talked about this past week, but Bagley is an absolute monster.
That's an animal.
I think the craziest thing is that he should be a high school senior right now. And he's out here putting up double-doubles, 35 points. He's eating, which is unbelievable. I can't get my mind around that. But I honestly, this might surprise some people, but I love Grayson Allen. I know a lot of people don't like him. I'm a big Grayson Allen fan.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you think he'll be good in the league?
I don't think he'll be good in the league. I think he's a great college player, especially a great Duke player. But I can't see that translating to the league. He's a little small for the shooting guard position. But I really like Duke this year. I'm a big Coach K fan.
Me too.
And they'll be really good this year.
Yeah, I like Duke a lot. I think it's really interesting that basically the 2 best bigs out of last year's class both went to Duke. I think it's pretty interesting with Wendell Carter, who actually, out of high school, I preferred his game over Bagley, but I think Bagley's been more impressive thus far. But Bagley, in one of his first games, had like a 29 or 30-plus point game already, and just an animal. And I sort of see Carter being able to do similar things. So that, coupled with Grayson Allen, coupled with the other talent they already have, and they recruited, I would not be surprised if Coach K is able to pull off another number 1 seed. Typically every year I'm always high on Duke. I'm always pretty high on Michigan State too, which obviously they suffered that loss to Duke in the very beginning of the season. But Grayson Allen went off for like 37 points. I definitely, it wouldn't surprise me. I'd like to see how Grayson Allen translates to the NBA, because I think that guy might have a pretty big target on his back in the sense of a lot of people like to talk about him. And I'm not necessarily a hater. I wouldn't say I'm a lover like you. But it'll be interesting to see how he's able to translate into the league, because he's had really 2 opportunities to go. Because after his freshman season, when he had that stellar national championship game, he probably could have put himself in the draft and got drafted just because he had a stellar national championship game. He had 16 points, I think. And then last year, obviously, being a team captain for most of it, his draft stock definitely went down when all of the hoopla happened with the tripping and trying to be the Caucasian Draymond. But it'll be interesting to see how he's able to turn that around this year, if he's able to rise his draft stock, and if he becomes a lottery pick. I'd be surprised, but it could happen. So we'll see. For the next good prediction or fiction, we're going to look at the Chicago Bulls. And do you think the Chicago Bulls will have the worst NBA record by the end of the season?
I definitely think that's a good prediction. They, their issues kind of started before the season even started with Bobby Portis and, was it Mirotic?
Yeah, Mirotic.
Getting in that fight in practice. And they just don't have any identity. Their leading scorer is Lauri Markkanen, the freshman out of Arizona.
Shout out.
Which he's done really well. He's played really well. But it's just hard to see a rookie lead a team in scoring and rebounds. And he's really the only player that's putting in work for the Bulls right now. They just don't have any identity, which is kind of rough right now. So yeah, I definitely see them having the worst record in the league.
Yeah, I think it's a fight between them, the Atlanta Hawks, who are absolutely atrocious, the Mavericks, who are pretty atrocious as well. I know you love Dennis Smith Jr., but he's not going to win too many ball games for them.
No, he won't.
But Dirk will, so shout out.
Shout out.
And I think the Kings also are going to be pretty
down there.
horrible.
Yeah.
I think it's a race for those four. I really wish the Magic didn't screw it up and win games in the beginning of the season. They should have been in that hunt.
Yeah.
I'm fully in tanking mode. I completely wish that we did that because it's the last year we're going to be able to do it so effectively. So pretty pissed, but we're not doing too bad. I mean, the last week and a half, we finally got the memo and have lost 8 straight. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It is 8 straight.
That's awesome.
Games, 2-8.
Yeah, let's not get it twisted. I'm very happy as a Magic fan right now, and we need to do more of this. I want us to have the biggest streak in the NBA and the losing streak, of course. I want them to climb up to about 25, 30.
Yeah.
Because I want either Bagley or Porter or whoever comes. Because we do not have the talent to win playoff series right now. But I'm sure the Bulls, Hawks, even the Nets, Kings, Suns, Mavericks are all thinking the same thing. So
yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a good prediction by you. We'll do our final one, which is an interesting one. I kind of I said this on a pod prior, but Ben Simmons been having a ridiculous season.
Yeah.
Do you think good prediction or fiction? Ben Simmons won't be the Rookie of the Year. Now, I say that because it's only about 20-ish games into the season. Obviously, he's Rookie of the Year right now. Lonzo definitely not in that category. Markelle Fultz isn't even... people have forgot even who he was. Tragic. And I said in the beginning of the season, the only way you're right and that Ben Simmons becomes Rookie of the Year, which you predicted before the season started, is that Markelle Fultz would have to have an awful year. And that's exactly what's been happening. Now, granted, half of that's been injury, but I do think there's a lot of, let's let him kind of like watch and almost get like a Ben Simmons role, and we'll be very conservative with his injury recovery. And I don't know. Do you think there's any possible chance Ben Simmons does not win the Rookie of the Year?
I think he'll absolutely win the Rookie of the Year. And I think the main thing is that he basically redshirted his first year, which is huge, and not a lot of people realize that. So he was allowed to travel with the team. I think he even practiced with the team, and then from about January on. So he kind of got the NBA experience without actually playing, and I think that helps a lot. And they're sitting at 5th place right now in the East, which is pretty impressive. Obviously, Joel Embiid, JoJo has done a lot to help that team out, but I definitely think Ben Simmons will win Rookie of the Year, especially if they continue this rate and secure that playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously keep in tune, but Ben Simmons just really being an animal right now and putting himself almost in a class of his own with some of the best in the league right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. Let's transition. A lot of good predictions from that segment. Over to a fantasy update. We haven't really had you on the pod since the League Round Beef draft, which was a very interesting one. Just to recap a little bit for the listeners, we sort of have a semi-complex auction draft that we had here, and it was a first auction draft for many of our members, and it really made it for a lot of interesting strategy. And I just want Wade to sort of talk about who's on his team, how the draft went for him, what his philosophy was, and how crappy of a GM he realizes he would be.
Well, see, the draft went great. I had a good time. But now I'm sitting at 0-5, and it's a little more frustrating now. But the thing is that I've been in every single game. It's about to be 0-6 actually. I lost this week again, but only by 20 points. And for those who don't know, I picked Gordon Hayward with my second pick, I believe. I picked Kyrie first, Gordon Hayward second. So obviously seeing him go down in the first 5 minutes of the season, it's very disappointing.
Yeah. And you took Jeremy Lin for whatever it's worth.
Jeremy Lin, that's one of those picks that you just want to have back. But I've got Kyrie, Harrison Barnes, Anthony Davis, Al Horford, Ben Simmons. So those are all players that put up numbers basically on a night-to-night basis. For some reason, we just can't put it together.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's because of depth. I mean, your boy James Johnson is very spotty. I think Gortat's actually had a pretty decent season. Rubio's kind of spotty. You also have George Hill and DeJounte Murray, which I think actually is a pretty good pickup considering he's played a lot of minutes. But, definitely would not hire you if I was the Magic. Would definitely hire me sitting at 4-1. Probably about to be 5-1. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty confident in myself. It always works out that way. But yeah, so I can't wait to face you just to take another dub. Speaking of dubs, do you ever think you'll actually get one in this league?
Oh wow.
I do. I'm still confident. My team, very confident. Just want to let my guys know that I'm here for the support.
Okay.
We'll bounce back. 0-6. It's just a start.
Yeah.
It's a long season, so.
Yeah, it is a long season.
It's a long season.
I definitely think odds are with you that you'll get at least one win.
Yeah.
I definitely wish I put a punishment thing so that you could definitely feel a lot more stress, but kind of interesting.
No, I'm feeling the stress.
Is there anyone you really wish that you should have drafted that you just didn't either put enough money for or just didn't think would do that well? Any big surprises that you're like, dang, I missed out on that one?
Not necessarily a specific player, but I do wish I had a knockdown 3-point shooter on my team. I don't really have that.
Kyrie isn't for sure.
That adds up over the course of a week, which is a game. But yeah, I don't have that knockdown 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely helps me. We were actually bantering about Lauri Markkanen. I picked him up off the waiver wire, and then literally 2 days later traded him for Brogdon, which was
really?
a pretty sweet little deal for me considering I really needed a shooting guard, and I picked him up for pennies. So shout out to LRB #1 fan Tommy Montoya for that move.
Shout out.
It's been working pretty well for me, but yeah, my squad doing pretty well. Like I said, I'm sitting at 4-1. I believe second overall in the league. I believe Matt Trapp is #1. It's definitely a divided league as far as like the top are eating and the bottom are starving, but we'll see if that's able to change. And you're definitely starving the most. So.
Oh, I'm starving. I'm hungry.
Oh yeah, you're very hungry. Let's go to our last segment. One I'm extremely excited about, and it's gonna sort of be unprecedented here, and I'm sure gonna have a lot of questions among the listeners as far as like why we did what we did. But you and I are obviously both very avid basketball fans and watchers, especially the NBA. I mean, this whole damn podcast has basically been about the NBA. Basically what we've done is we've broken down some of the most kind of like essential characteristics and attributes to NBA players and basketball players in general. So we'll break it down as body, basketball IQ, passing ability, shooting ability, athleticism, footwork, rebounding ability, blocking ability, defensive ability, and ball handling. So basically we're going to take those 9 or 10 different characteristics, and what we'll do is we'll have a little draft, and we can just go back and forth, and we'll try to create what in our eyes would be the perfect player. But the way we'll do it so that it's not just LeBron being selected every time or Steph being selected every time is that once one of us takes that player, let's say I take LeBron for his body, neither you or I can ever take any LeBron attribute again. So what'll end up happening is kind of like the best players will be weeded out, and we might have Porzingis' footwork or something like along those lines. So I have some notes here for how I want to draft, but I'm willing to give you the first pick as far as you can basically pick whatever category you want.
Okay.
So feel free to go for it.
Cool. Well, I think this is going to be the easiest, but for body, I'm going to go LeBron. I think that's the easiest pick I'm going to have to make here. And I'm sure I'm actually interested to see what you have for body. But he just kind of combines that strength with speed that really nobody else in the NBA has.
I mean, obviously a good pick. And now LeBron is gone for all of those. Which is a big blow.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go a little different here. I'm going to go to defensive ability, actually. And I'm going to pick up Kawhi Leonard and his defensive ability.
Okay.
I think he's kind of by far the best defender in the league, and if I could have any defensive-minded player, it'd be him. So Kawhi Leonard off the board.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go with IQ next. For IQ, I'm going to go Chris Paul.
He's an idiot.
Just because he kind of has a sense of calm and a good sense of pace whenever he's got the ball in his hands. So as a coach, I would absolutely feel confident with Chris Paul. Not only running the point, but just being on the roster. Just kind of point out stuff to the teammates. So yeah, IQ definitely Chris Paul.
Well, that's unfortunate. That's my favorite player, so I really wanted him.
I knew you would have him, yep.
So let's see. This is getting interesting now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep locking up what I think is important and what I think are outliers. So I'm actually going to take, for ball handling, I'm going to go ahead and lock up Kyrie Irving right now. Which sounds nice to me. A Kawhi Leonard defensive player with a Kyrie ball handling is going to be definitely
sounds like a beast.
Yeah, definitely going to be a beast. Sounds like me in intramurals. Definitely think that's a good pick for me. So that's going to be my pick. Kyrie Irving is off the board.
Well, this is another gimme pick, but shooting ability, I'm going to have to go Steph Curry. So now my player has the body of LeBron, the IQ of Chris Paul, and he can also shoot like Steph Curry. So I'm really liking where my guy's going.
It's all right. Actually, this may be kind of a shock, but I actually wouldn't take Steph's shooting ability first.
What?
Who would you pick ahead of him?
I'm going to reserve that pick for later on.
Fair enough.
Okay, so let's see. Definitely have a ton of things I need to fill up here.
Yeah.
I think I'm now going to lock up athleticism. And I think I'm going to have Russell Westbrook athleticism for my guy.
Yeah.
So Russell Westbrook officially off the board. Can't pick him for anything else. Obviously, the most athletic player in the NBA right now, but I would argue the most athletic player in the NBA ever. 6'4", absolutely destroys the rim. That game where he was playing Golden State, I mean, that guy just had major locker room beef. That's basically that at its finest. So Russell Westbrook off the board for me. Now my guy is athleticism of Russell Westbrook, defensive ability of Kawhi, and the ball handling of Kyrie.
It's a beast. Next pick, I'm going to go with rebounding ability. And I'm going to have to go Andre Drummond here. The fact that he's averaging 15 rebounds a game is absolutely unbelievable to me. He's averaging more rebounds than points, which is pretty unbelievable. But
that's eating.
Yeah, he's eating in the paint. So I'm definitely going to have to go with Drummond here, which means I now have the body of LeBron, IQ of Chris Paul, shooting ability of Steph Curry, and the rebounding ability of Andre Drummond.
Okay. I think I have to go with body now. I have to have obviously a pretty beast body. And I think this is kind of an easy choice at this moment. I think the best body in the NBA, even over LeBron, is actually Giannis Antetokounmpo, also known as the Alphabet, also known as the Greek Freak, also known as the GOAT.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Maybe. We'll see. Could be. So for my body of my NBA perfect player, I'm going to take Giannis, and he is officially off the board.
Well, I haven't chosen athleticism yet, but yeah, you know what? For this one, I'm going to have to go John Wall. Just because, I mean, we were kind of describing LeBron earlier, how he can combine that speed and strength, but I think John Wall just does it in a smaller frame. He's only about 6'4", which is huge for a point guard. But he can bully players, he can outrun players, and I think he's one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in the league. So for athleticism, I'm definitely going to have to go John Wall.
Okay, now this is starting to get pretty interesting here. I have my shooting ability player, which I haven't said that I want, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a guy that definitely, you have to be a basketball nut to know this.
All right.
But for footwork, for me, it's not even close. And for my footwork player, I'm actually going to take DeMar DeRozan. If anyone watches basketball and watches Raptors basketball, that guy's footwork is insane.
Yeah.
He is just Mr. Mid-Range. He has mastered the lost art in the NBA. I absolutely love his footwork and the way he plays and how he's able to set himself up. Makes the game look really easy, and that's just the sign of a really good basketball player. So I'll take DeMar DeRozan's footwork for my perfect NBA player.
Well, I'm going to go footwork here as well. And for this one, I'm actually going to pick Zach Randolph. Which might sound pretty funny. But he plays the center position at 6'9". And in order for that, he's got to be able to face up and turn towards the basket, even in that low block. And I do think he's got the best footwork, simply just because he's a lot faster than most centers who guard him. So I like his mid-range game, the ability to face up and just kind of go by the center that's guarding him. It just really sets him apart from most centers. So I'm going to go, Zach Randolph with footwork.
Zach Randolph, I honestly did not think that was a name coming off the board.
I know you didn't.
But still leading, I guess. Let's see. So I still have rebounding left. I have blocking left. I have shooting, passing, and IQ.
Okay.
I have an idea of where I want to go for some of those. But as far as what I want to lock up, I think I'm going to start locking up my blocking ability. And for my blocking ability, I'm going to take... That's between two for me, but I'm going to take Rudy Gobert.
Shout out.
The Frenchman.
Yeah.
Guy's super active, big over in Utah, just really knows how to get after it. He's a great timer as far as blocking shots. I think there's many honorable mentions when it comes to blocking ability. He's not even top 5 or top 10 right now in blocks, but I think he will end up definitely being so by the time the season ends. So for my blocking ability, I'll take Rudy Gobert.
Cool. All right, so I've got passing, blocking, and defensive ability. I'm going to go blocking ability as well. I'm going to go Anthony Davis. I think that's a pretty solid pick because I think he's actually in first place right now in the league for blocks per game. He's third, but he's a monster. He's 6'11", freakishly long arms, so definitely one of the best rim protectors. I'd have to go with Anthony Davis.
It's a solid pick. I kind of forgot about him for a second, but that's okay. I'll stick with Rudy. He's good at blocking. For my rebounding ability, I think I'm going to go ahead and lock up DeMarcus Cousins. He's an animal. Top 3 right now in the NBA. I think he's number 2, if I'm not mistaken. Behind Andre Drummond, who's just Mr. Thanksgiving when it comes to eating in the paint. But yeah, definitely rolling the wrist when he's in the paint. But I definitely think DeMarcus is just an absolute animal. I actually think that the Pelicans are the 2 best bigs in the NBA on the same team, which is kind of crazy. The fact that they aren't as successful as maybe they should be, but it just shows you where the NBA is as far as being a guard-oriented league. But I'll go ahead and for my rebounding ability, my perfect NBA player will have DeMarcus Cousins' attributes.
So that leaves me with passing and defensive ability. This one might surprise you.
As well as ball handling.
That's right. But for passing, I'm going to go Ben Simmons, which might surprise you. But he's 5th right now in the league in assists per game. And I think he attracts so much attention when he attacks the basket. It just creates easy opportunities for everyone else, either around the basket or just hanging around the 3-point line. He always just finds a way to get guys active, get guys involved. So passing ability, I'm going to go Ben Simmons.
Okay. I don't actually hate that pick. I thought about that for passing ability. Mine you might actually hate. I'm definitely a homer for this guy. I've stuck around for him. I think he's going to be good in this league. My passing ability is actually going to be Lonzo Ball.
He's an idiot.
A league leader as far as rookies go, in passing behind Ben Simmons only, I believe. And I just think that the way he passes is what I just absolutely love. I think Ben Simmons is able to draw and kick very well, but I think Lonzo actually creates a little better. And I think people will be able to see that even more and more as the more spotlight is put on him. But
yeah,
very controversial. But my passing ability, I'll actually take Lonzo Ball.
That's fair. I definitely say, passing is the best part of his game. So definitely a good pick there. Now I have defensive ability and handles. For handle life, I'm going to go James Harden. Just because of his ability to create his own shot. I really think, Kyrie's great, obviously, with his handles. But I think James' ability to kind of get that step back involved in his game. He's always not going to go by you, but he will find a way to get a bucket. And that's not really coming off screens or anything. It's usually just a quick move by his defender. So for handles, I'm going to go James Harden.
I definitely know where I'm going to go for. I'm going to lock up my shooting ability, which I stated prior. I would put this above Steph. I think Steph is obviously amazing. And I think he's a better off the dribble shooter than this guy. But I actually think Klay Thompson, his fellow Splash brother, is not way better textbook form. When I have a kid, I'm going to have that kid watching Klay Thompson all day. Just love that form. Just adopt it, understand it. He is always jumping off 2 feet, landing off 2 feet, always in the same spot. Mid-range, 3-point, deep, set shot, around the screen, doesn't matter. He always shoots exactly how you're supposed to. Absolutely love Klay Thompson's shooting ability. That would definitely be mine.
So it means we're down to 1 pick now?
Yep, so you have defensive ability left, and I have IQ.
I'm going to go Draymond Green. Yeah. Just because of, I think, the attention he brings on the defensive side of the ball. And he plays with the intensity that really gets in his opponent's head. I'm not sure if you saw Dennis Smith about a month ago getting into it with Draymond, but he just frustrates players. And he kind of does it all the stuff that really won't show up on stat sheets. Deflections, just stopping the ball, small stuff like that. But he's a beast. He takes pride in his defense, so I'm going to have to go Draymond.
All right, and the final category for me is IQ, which I ultimately wanted. I wanted CP3, but of course you already took him, so I'm a little bit searching here. I've got a couple notables. Damian Lillard, Karl Anthony Towns, kind of young though. Al Horford if you're really into the Celtics, but
yeah.
I think I'm gonna take my boy Dame Dalla.
Shout out.
The guy is a bucket getter, and I think part of IQ is attitude as well. He never counts his team out. He never thinks he's out of the game. He's always willing to take the big shot. Everyone knows the iconic shot that he made in Game 6 a couple of years ago in the playoffs. Yeah. And that's basically where NBA came out with the Where Amazing Happens commercial idea.
That's right.
I just think Damian Lillard, Dame Dalla, not only great with the bars, but great with the ball. And I think his mindset in basketball is tier 1. So I'm gonna go with Damian Lillard for my IQ. So let's run it back. Say basically every category, and then what your perfect player is, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll basically on social media I'll sort of have a vote as to which one is better.
Cool. All right. So body, I'm going LeBron. IQ is Chris Paul. Passing ability is Ben Simmons. Shooting is Steph Curry. Athleticism is Giannis. Oh,
no, you wish it was Giannis.
Yeah, that was my first pick.
Nice try. That was a fast one. I was like, dang, I thought I took Giannis.
No, it was John Wall. Yeah, you got Giannis before I wanted him. I got him.
Foul on the play.
Yeah. Footwork, Zach Randolph, Zebo.
What?
Rebounding ability, Andre Drummond. Blocking, Anthony Davis. Defensive ability, Draymond Green. And handle life, James Harden.
Handle life. I think that was maybe your best pick, because the fact that you got James Harden is one of your last picks. For my perfect NBA player, he has the body of Giannis Antetokounmpo, the IQ of Dame Dollar, Damian Lillard. He's got the passing ability of Zoe, Lonzo Ball. He's got the shooting ability of Klay Thompson. He's got the athleticism of Russell Westbrook. He's got the footwork of DeMar DeRozan, which is definitely better than Zach Randolph. He's got the rebounding ability of DeMarcus Cousins. He's He's got the blocking ability of Rudy Gobert. He's got the defensive ability of Kawhi Leonard and the ball handling of Kyrie Irving. So I actually think pretty even. You may be better overall, but I definitely think I have a couple standouts in ball handling and defense.
Yeah.
I would love to see these two morphed players in 2K just be created
one-on-one.
and go one-on-one and see how that went. But yeah, that'd be a fascinating one. But it looks like we're rounding out the pods. Thank you so much for tuning in. To all the listeners out there, if you don't already, please go follow us on our social media. That includes Instagram, Twitter. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts. You're probably listening to us in one of those three. If not, then you've probably hacked into my computer and my mainframe, which please don't. It's not like I have anything valuable, so I really wouldn't anyways. You're wasting your time. Shout out to Manute Bowl. He's probably would be like 89 by now. So definitely shout out to him. I said, go look out at the Locker Room Beef column. If you haven't already, that's on lockerroombeef.com. Basically, all of our stuff is there. We try to post articles every week. Definitely an article or two every week. So go check that out. I got more and more stuff in the works. We're over 600 followers on both Instagram and Twitter, so the growth is amazing, and I appreciate you guys. So definitely look out for all of our new stuff. We'll have a pod coming in later this week or next week. And anything else, Wade?
That's about it from me. Thanks for having me.